You can count on us, Queenie.
What do you pop?
Ah, you thundering dope! I told you to hold your horses or you'll shake the hitch loose.
Oh, now you're a bleeding expert, are you? You overloaded the damn cart, that's why it's busted.
A wagon lay strewn across the middle of the road. Behind it stood others, some loaded with gold, jewels, and other valuables, others groaning under barrels of pickled meat. Each dwarf had his own theory about how the accident had come about, and thundered it out to all and sundry, peppered with choice invectives.
An odd caravan.
Meave said.
They don't look like merchants.
Nah, they ain't.
Gabor answered.
Dwarves of the Ferens clan, carrying gifts for the Drake. Remember Keltilus? When he took roost here, Ferences fought him for near a century. Then the dragon got weary of fighting and they realised he weren't going nowheres, so they cut a deal. He didn't bother them. They give him what he needs.
Well, well. And these offerings they send often?
Every week. Excuse me, got to separate them lads, or they tear out each other's beards. Hey there! Krill your idiot heads!
Gabor managed to douse his brethren's fiery tempers, but the wagon still lay across the road, blocking all traffic.
Queen,
Said Xavier.
it is an easy repair. I have the tools, the parts. Need but your permission.
Of course. Go see what can be done.
Xavier did indeed make quick work of the problem. Within moments, the wagon was rolling smoothly down the road, good as new,
Well, shaft me, your highness.
said one of the dwarves.
Your engineer's got a pate like stewed meat, but he kens his trade. That's for certain.
I'll convey your words to him. Or at least part of them.
Me and the lads will be on our way now, but first, take this. Bit of gold by way of thanks.
Thank you.
Meave said, accepting the surprisingly heavy pouch.
In wartime, every copper counts.
The dwarf bowed in parting, shook the snow off his beard, then rejoined his caravan. Within a few moments, the wagons had disappeared around the bend. A pillar of smoke rose above the mountains, and a sooty aroma filled the air.
Fire!
Gabor said, then took a deep sniff.
Perhaps a bolt struck some barren trees.
No,
Meave said curtly.
I know that scent too well. All Edirn reeked of it. It's the smell of burning homes.
The Lyrians quickened their gait. Soon they saw a town fully aflame, and a roaring, furious dragon above it.
That's your Keltalis?
Gascon asked, shielding his eyes from the sharp glare emanating from the city.
You were right. Perfectly harmless.
Dinna ken what's got his knickers in a bunch.
The dwarf said, grabbing his axe from his belt.
Queen, we got to make haste to the rescue.
Smother your fears, Sir Dwarf.
Ake proclaimed. Without waiting for Meave's reply, he dropped his lance and galloped headlong towards the burning city.
Follow me! Slay the Viper!
Reynard!
Meave called out.
Have our men wet their cloaks for a modicum of fire protection. We move as soon as they're done. If we don't make haste, Ake will be reduced to smouldering plate.
Your Grace, they are but common soldiers. To fight a dragon...
I know, but we must help them, or at least try.
While Reynard went to pass on the order, Meave turned to Gabor.
This dragon, has it any weakness?
Fear not,
Said the somber dwarf.
except a fondness for raw meat.
Meave nodded and swallowed dryly. Despite the cold, she felt sweat pour down her scalp. Stifling her fear, Meave gave the order to attack, and her soldiers rode into the flaming city. From up close, Keltalis looked even more terrifying. Though enormous, he moved with shocking agility, like a lizard scurrying over sand. With one swing of his paw, he snapped the necks of 3 dwarves, then bisected a fourth with a powerful bite. After that, he turned his attention to the Lyrians.
More of you!
He said, twisting his bloody maw into a horrifying smile.
Good!
Behind me! Stay together!
Give me a target.
We must trust each other!
I smell a leak.
Ah!
We haven't killed the dragon. It has to be possible. Ah, shite! He's raging now! Watch out!
Your Grace, we're taking losses!
This harvest, we'll be reaping black-clad heads.
The vermin's diminished, but be wary. Each blow it answers still with wrath and fury.
God's blessed it. My breast burns.
That day, many Lyrians perished, either to the dragon's all-consuming fire or to its flesh-rending claws. Yet their sacrifice was not in vain. Together with the dwarves, they were able to grievously wound Celtulis, forcing him to flee. The howls of the wounded monster rang throughout the valley.
That's right, howl, you scurvy snake! Shouldn't they ever attacked us, eh? Damn fuel lizard!
Meave, that's Vavrenik, elder of the town and all the Ferences.
My regards and condolences.
Eh, tain't so bad. If nae for ye, wouldn't there be a stone left unrubbled? To be honest, when I caught wind some human queen come to Mahakam looking for aid, I said a crocus would sprout twixt my cheeks afore I'd vote aye on that. Gonna be a fear to look in my breeches after, but changed my mind. After what I saw today, what ye did for us, you've the support and undying gratitude of all Ferences.
Thank you. Faced with a Nilfgaardian peril, that means a great deal.
Forgive me for interrupting this tear-tugging scene of interracial reconciliation, but I can't hold back no longer. Vavrenik! Double shice! What happened? Why'd Celtulis attack?
I ken as much as ye, meaning squat diddly. Just flew up, started spewing flames, half the town lit up in a flash.
Sheepshank! 300 years I've been a good neighbour.
What's done's done. Gotta think about the future. The Drake's just taking a breather. Gotta finish him off before he's regained form.
Meaning we haven't much time. He heals like an alchemist's pup. And the nearest guards are miles away. He'll be up flying again before they get here.
Aye, that's what I thought. Perhaps, your grace, you'd,
What? Jest you must.
I ken you're tired through the fight, dinna want to risk casualties, etc. But remember, the beast's sleeping on a bed of gold and rubies. All belonging by right to Bruther, of course. But if quibbling some wandered off, he'd nae notice.
I admit that does alter my calculations. Besides, the dragon was badly wounded.
Putting it featherly, blood poured out of him like a leaky bladder. Just needs a coup de grace.
Fine. I'll do the deed.
Ken you'd see the light.
Oi, Vavrenik, Vavrenik. This lady's gonna make your rump a regular crocus garden.
Aye, Queen's doing us a great service. One that'll profit us both.
So, where is Celtulis's lair?
North of here. It's a vast cavern. Ye canna miss it.
Meave bid farewell to Vavrenek and set out on her way. Did her way lead to the dragon's lair, you ask? Shh. Let's not spoil the surprise.
That stings. Got a blow on it a little. Trust a boarhead, and what do you get? A singed bahookie. Brown, red, gold. Every dragon's a right bastard. Wait! I'm coming, wait!
Celtulis' lair was indeed impossible to miss, as would stand to reason, for any space capable of containing a dragon must be enormous. The lair's maw, a black triangle cut out of a vast plain of snow, loomed from afar. Confirming the dragon's presence was the powerful odor emanating from it, one of sulfur and blood.
Well then,
Gascon said,
ready to become a legendary dragon slayer?
My father oft said, never should you count pelts till the hunt is through.
Meave said, dismounting her horse.
It's all the more true when you hunt dragons. He's wounded, yes, but one puff of flame, and we shall be not legends, but corpses. Leave all thoughts of foolhardy bravery behind.
The Lyrians crept across the dragon's threshold. They walked single file, shields raised, watched by bats hanging from the ceiling. Keltalis lay curled up on a bed of diamonds and gold coins turned red from his blood. Seeing how he strained merely to lift his massive head, Meve knew the dragon no longer posed any threat.
Come to finish what your poison began?
The monster croaked hoarsely.
Fine. Do it then.
Keltalis turned over, exposing his vulnerable underbelly, and waited calmly for the fatal blow.
Wait,
Meve said, dropping her sword.
what poison?
Keltalis laughed while squeezing his bleeding side in pain.
So they didn't tell you? Lousy munchkins.
Hey! Watch your tongue!
Gabor yelled.
Sides, I didn't ken anything about it.
Keltalis looked the Lyrians over mistrustfully with his snake-like eyes, then began to tell his tale. The caravan Meve had met on the road was different to the others. This time, Keltalis's meat had been pickled in a special brine, one spiked with poison. As the dragon lay curled up in pain, Ferenc dwarves entered his lair and smashed his head.
So if I understand correctly,
Meve interrupted.
you're female.
Correct. Same as you.
As if on command, all Lyrian eyes turned to Gabor.
Can you look at me? We didn't peek under his, its tail.
If I may,
Reynard interjected.
these revelations about Keltalis's sex are undeniably fascinating. But I'm more curious why the Ferences stooped to such a dishonorable deed.
That's easy enough to guess.
Meve said.
They were afraid the dragon would soon demand more tribute to feed its young, so they decided to strike preemptively.
A wise and noble deed.
Ache cried.
Evil must always be nipped in the bud.
To the Ferences' misfortune, they delivered 2 smaller doses of poison. Infuriated at the sight of the broken eggs, the dragon gathered its strength and flew to the nearest town. Meve saw for herself what happened then. And now it was up to her to decide how this story would end. The dragon had killed dozens, perhaps even hundreds, but had been provoked first by the dwarves' heartless cruelty. Did it thus deserve death or mercy?
I understand your pain,
Meve said.
but nothing can justify the massacre you wrought.
Nothing? And what would you have done in my place?
Snorted the dragon.
Pen a letter of complaint to Elder-in-Chief Hoog? They killed my children?
I'd have done the same.
The Queen replied, not hesitating a moment.
I'd have sought revenge, knowing what punishment I'd earn.
The monster looked Meve in the eyes a long while, then dropped its head.
I've no more strength to fight. I've no more reason to fight. Do as you see fit.
Meve raised her sword high and swept it down with enormous strength, cutting the scaled belly in twain. The monster bellowed out a long roar and writhed its tail, scattering diamonds everywhere. Then grew still. Keltalis, the last red dragon between the Great Sea and the Fiery Mountains, had breathed his last. There followed a strange silence. No one cheered, no one clapped. Only Ache whispered a prayer of thanks under his breath.
That was
Gascon said, the first to break the silence.
not terribly epic.
What'd you expect?
Gabor said, arms akimbo.
Fanfare and fireworks. The mountain to quake. He up and died. What else would they do?
I am certain, Your Grace,
Reynard said.
that the poets will endow this moment with the appropriate splendor.
I'm sure they will,
The Queen said, sheathing her sword.
for they are liars.
The Queen told her soldiers to gather a part of the dragon's treasure, small enough not to bring down the wrath of Bruverhoog, but large enough to fully compensate the Lyrians' losses. And Meve gained the title of Dragon Slayer, though she rarely made much mention of it. Meve squinted, the better to see the scene. Several dozen dwarves had gathered on the cliff overlooking the chasm. All were turned towards a ramp, at the peak of which stood a barrel.
What is that gathering about?
Asked the Queen.
Have we a feast day?
Nay,
Answered Gabor grimly.
'tis an execution.
A hairy head peeked out of the barrel. The long, pointy nose and ears left no doubt that it belonged to a gnome. The first Meve had ever seen in her life.
Help! Save me!
The gnome yelled.
They aim to kill me! Cast me in the chasm!
Shut your maw!
Barked the dwarf standing next to him, who then shoved the gnome inside the barrel and covered it with a lid.
Your crimes! The sheer weight of him, eh? No lighter punishment is fitting.
The other gathered dwarves nodded approvingly. Two gripped the barrel, lay it on its side, then lifted it to cast in the chasm, paying the thumping from inside it no heed. Meve leapt from her horse, and ignoring Gabor's objections, scrambled up the ramp.
Oi! You're not allowed! Hey, damn it! What do you think you're doing?
I think it's obvious. Preventing the execution.
Thanks be to the gods!
Whoa, wench, you've no such right. Judgment's been handed down. Sentencing's done.
Yes, and a cruel sentence it is. One that prompts me to wonder what the accused did to deserve it.
Better to ask what he didn't do, the varmint. Arrived here with his peddler's wagon full of tricks and gadgets. Went from house to house, praised his rubbish to the high heavens, and what's it he sold us? Bombs that go off in your hand. beard growth formula that makes your hair catch fire. Music boxes for the kiddies. Once cranked, they never plough in stop.
You needed but to loosen the screw in the back and...
Shut your maw, ye roaster. Doesn't it matter all that? 'Cause we'd have forgiven it if he hadn't broken our sacred rules and hallowed customs.
Which ones, if you don't mind me asking?
Enter the smithy, cap on his head, held nails tween his teeth, and poured fruit syrup in his beer. Raspberry. Blech.
Just the once, and but a few drops.
You got nothing to explain your villainy, scoundrel. Not a thing. And that's not even the worst. Saved his highest crime for the end. He was in a mine. And he whistled.
Oh, aye, that's bad. Shouldn't have done that.
Aye, he did. Whistled. Through his teeth. And hummed in harmony, a long warble. We all heard it up and down the shaft, and our grand elders were clear. Death's the punishment. Death by barrel roll.
Wait 1 minute. What exactly does the Four Dwarfs Codex say? Which stricture did he violate?
What did... How's it a wench and a human one to boot know about the code?
This human wench has a head, and a capacious one. Well, have you an answer?
The code says thus. 'Tis a crime most grievous to whistle in a mine. Any dwarf committing the cock-up shall be placed in a barrel at once. Said barrel then to be rolled down a mountain.
Any dwarf. The situation's clear. If my senses do not deceive, the accused is a gnome.
Aye, but the code's not to be taken literal, like. It's to be interpreted. What the ancient elders had in their heads, why, that's got to be divined.
Nothing to be divined here. You got to be a dwarf to be a dwarf, not no bloody gnome.
So, am I, meaning I'm free to go?
Perchance we ought to let the Elder-in-Chief rule on the matter.
Oh, aye. Oh, for we all ken how old Hoog loves being bothered with such things.
Ugh, fine. Now get the hell out of that barrel and out of my sight, you hairy hamshanker.
My lady, I haven't a way to thank you.
That we've yet to discuss. Perhaps first we should learn each other's names?
Aye, yes, of course. What a prat of me. Barnabas. Barnabas Beckenbauer. To friends, Bibi.
Meve, Queen of Lyria and Rivia.
Queen. Cows in the corn, colour me honoured. Your Majesty, obeisance due.
None necessary. Protocols for use at court, not beyond it. An inventor you deem yourself. Am I right?
Most assuredly. Though, truth be told, the dwarves saw no ingenuity in my craft. Seems I'm ahead of my time.
Fiery bursts in the palm of your hand. They shall be in fashion one day, to your mind.
Oh, nay, just a bit of misfortune, that's all that was. You see, I mistook mercury fulminate for saltpeter. The vials stood beside each other, see, and...
The details I need not know. But one matter I am curious about. Could you construct a bomb that would explode when desired? For instance, beneath my foe's feet as they stepped over it.
Of course I can! It's simple.
Why then? You wish to show your gratitude? You must join my ranks. Assist me to defeat Nilfgaard.
Defeat Nilfgaard? Pure ambition, that is. But I'd have been a barrel of broken bones at the bottom of a ravine, if not for you. I'll do what you ask to pay off my debt.
And thus, for the first time in Lyrian annals, a gnome enlisted with the army. And though Barnabas Beckenbauer was diminutive of body, this new recruit would prove his worth on more than one occasion.
Your Majesty, allow me once again to express my undying gratitude.
You're most welcome, Barnabas, but please, we haven't need for any formalities when speaking alone.
Well, of course. How might I help you then?
I like to know. No, I must know who I travel with. Please do tell me about yourself.
About me? I've most civil relations with dwarves, as you saw. But is there anything in particular you'd like to know?
Why not start at the beginning? Tell me where you hail from, perhaps.
Oh, right. I was born in the distant south, in Tir Tokair. My mother was a washerwife, my father, an armourer. Soon as I'd passed 40 winters and could strike out on my own, I left the family, my native parts. So I've been on the road now about, 20-odd years.
Indeed. A rather long while. Did the south simply not suit you?
Well, I wouldn't say that exactly. It's just staying would have meant stepping into my father's shoes. Then forging blade after blade, plate after plate. Oh, just thinking on it sets my head a-spinning. Not for me, that, no. No, nature. The world so rich in mysteries, in wonders left to discover, and ways to make it a better place.
By building bombs that explode in the hand, for instance.
As those bearded fellas say, Mahakam wasn't built in a day. Besides, nobody was seriously hurt by those malfunctions. Not many, at any rate.
At the moment, have you any invention you've worked on? One that's near complete?
Oh, so kind. Oh, wonderful, you should ask. See, I've ever had an avian fascination. For birds, you see. Their wings, bones. The structure's perfect. The aerodynamicism, the plumage. In short, I believe I can fly.
I beg your pardon?
Yes. Yes, I'm learning to fly. Fly. You've not misheard. I, Barnabas Beckenbauer, will be the first gnome... Oh, what am I saying? The first mammal to free himself of the soil's bondage and soar to the clouds.
But aren't bats also?
Ha! A detail. This is no time to be petty. No, but frankly, my preparations are far advanced, and I'm rather optimistic about my design and prospects. I've calculated every trajectory, every force. It all works out. Just need to do a few more field tests.
Did you have volunteers try it, or did you test the design yourself?
Naturally, I must stay on the ground. Who take all the measurements elsewise. Luckily, there's no lack of thrill-seekers in Mahagam. Most eager to etch themselves into the annals. My first prototype, the Skylicker, I dubbed it. Oh, Your Majesty, if you'd only seen the beauty. Flew over 120 ells.
Truly? Colour me impressed indeed. He must have made quite the name for himself, your brave volunteer. I'm certain he's caught the eye of every she-dwarf in Mahakam since.
Oh no, he's dead. The landing, it was rough. And then a bear sauntered by, it didn't help any. Anyhow, as he died, the dwarf swore he regretted nothing. Brave lad. A bit daft, though.
I see. But the next time you request I try one of your inventions, I'd ask you to remind me of this touching tale. Time I attended to other matters.
Ah, yes, you're still here. Off you go, then.
You change your mind, lass, let me know, eh? Got the barrel ready and waiting. Well... Well, a damn shame. What with such good visibility today, too.
The blizzard's blowing in. Your Grace, perhaps we'd best pitch camp and wait for clear weather.
Ain't a bad idea. Said we might be waiting a week.
Then we march on. We've no time to waste. While we ride to and fro begging aid, Nilfgaard grows in power. We must obtain reinforcements as quickly as possible and liberate our home.
Every year more monsters crawl out for spring cleaning. Remember, if you pass a snail en route to the mine, share a wee bite with them. Never. Now hold on. Pour you... Never. Never, ever whistle for the mines.
You must sweat like a swine in that jacket.
Brach! Scheiß! In Teil!
I smell a leak. For you, pal! Anything. One bolt I need.
Aye.
You mad? Don't shake that!
Discipline shall bring us victory!
Tell me you jest.
Company! Forward march!
Should have listened to me, old lady.
Feel any burning? See a local healer or wise woman?
This artist will be reaping black-clad heads.
I'd hoped we could solve this some other way.
Meve rode on in silence, endeavoring to work out the length of her exile thus far. A scout's call tore her from her reverie.
Your Grace! You must see this!
With a grave mien, the soldier indicated a track in the snow. The hobnail boot print was all too familiar. Meve had seen it before, upon Lyria's sandy tracks, and midst the ashes to which Edirn had been turned.
Nilfgaardian footmen.
Seethed Meve.
Marched through of late.
Interrupted Gascon.
A day, perhaps 2 days past.
The scouts had learned a Nilfgaardian caravan with an armed escort had recently arrived in Mahakam. The invaders had brought with them chests brimming with gold and jewels, then exchanged these for the finest Mahakaman-forged swords and spears. A scout gave Meve one of the coins the Blackclads had used for payment. Upon the coin's back, the Lyrian eagle.
They pay with gold from my vault.
The Queen said through gritted teeth.
For arms that will cut down my fighting men and subjects.
We might yet pursue and hunt them down,
said Reynard, a spark in his eye.
And make certain Ebdahi never lays hands on those weapons.
You might, I can.
Piped up Gabor, who had been listening to their exchange.
But you might also recall, we Mahakamans are neutrals who assure all guests within our borders safety. True, formally speaking, the Nilfgaardians have passed outside them, but attack him a stone's throw from our gates, and you'll see Brewer's rage come out his ears as steam, and out his arse as fire.
No war's outcome has been swayed by a few wagons of arms, no matter their quality.
Said the Queen, vaulting into her saddle.
Yet if we turn Brewer against us, I dare say we shall never wrest our land from black-clad hands.
The Queen's men regretted her reluctance to attack, but none tried to dissuade her. They knew her too well.
Pissing in the moat? Oh, you're dead. It's gonna be a right good levy, big and beautiful.
If anyone asks, you've not seen me. There's been a mistake. I'm no mage.
We shan't pass this way.
Oh, Raynard, whatever would we do without you? Plummet off the cliff like lemmings, no doubt.
Meve squinted and gazed off into the distance. It seemed to her that hundreds of black patches covered the peaks on the horizon. Once she had ridden up closer, she realized these were the windows of homes carved out of solid rock.
Our pride this was,
sighed Gabor.
Burra's Rump. A city carved out of mountain rock. Hundreds of miles of tunnels, dozens of steelworks, smithies and forges. Now, it's a vast lair to monsters. The ooze from underground weave their nests, hatch their young, and when hunger hits them in the gut, they prowl down into the pass.
Neve stood at the entrance to the underground city. The monumental gate, cast in bronze, lay on the ground, folded multiple times as a scroll of paper. Out of blackened windows oozed a stench of rotting meat and mold. The Queen bent an ear to hear water dripping, and, in the distance, a metallic scraping. A sound akin to chitinous scales rubbing against rock.
The soldiers await your order, Your Grace,
said Reynard quietly, as if he feared he would wake the beasts asleep in the caverns.
Do you recall my words as we fled Lyria?
Said Neve, turning to Reynard.
You swore you would retake your crown, even if you had to penetrate hell to do so.
Time to follow that oath.
The Queen inhaled deeply and stepped forward, her sword raised and prepared to strike or parry. Moments later, it was swinging, fighting, as the current tenants of Borrow's Rump came out to meet her.
This stench is foul.
I'd like to make it known that us gnomes don't run so fast. You know, in case you were planning to skip out on the quick.
Aye.
Tell me you jest.
This could hurt.
Ah, damn it! They're hatching! Place is about to swarm with creepers! Should have listened to me, old lady.
Though I walk through the valley of darkness, I shall fear no evil.
This harvest will be reaping black-clad heads. My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me.
You sure about that?
It's not too late to walk away.
The unworthy shall be punished.
This way! Follow me!
Though wounded, Meve approached the Sheelmar, which lay writhing on the ground. She then ran her sword through its heart, finishing it. Yet so spent was she that she lacked the strength to pull her blade from between the plates of the chitinous armor.
The beast near took me.
She whispered.
It was very close.
The Lyrians reached a vast hall that had once served the clans as their meeting room. The stone benches were covered in sticky slime and insectoid eggs, while bats of varying size hung from the crystal chandeliers. Gascon rummaged through old, weathered bones, surely hoping to find something of value. Gabor, in turn, was at a shut and locked door, grappling with it as if it were a deadly beast. The door finally gave way with a sigh, and the dwarf raised his arms in a triumphant gesture.
It's a storeroom. Should hold miners' tools aplenty,
He said, enthused.
Some barrels of alchemical brews in here too. Lucky there's no sign of moisture. You haven't soaked through. All we've got to do is roll them out into the corridor and set a bit of fire to them, and whoomph! We'll have sealed the beasts off from the pass once and for all.
Meve treated the dwarves' instructions as hallowed. Soon after, the mountains trembled from a powerful explosion. Rubble came down and blocked the tunnels. They say the plumes of smoke escaping the window openings in the rock could be seen as far as Aldersburg.